Good morning and welcome to Backtalk. I'm your host, Rick Stevenson, along with my co-host, Brother Ken Pfister.
Howdy.
Well, Ken, Damon started off a new message this week, or a new series.
New series of messages.
Yes, on relationships. And I didn't know where he was going to go with that, and when he stepped off into that thing, I was going, uh-oh, I'm in trouble here.
Well, thank goodness he
Yeah.
covered the whole aspect of
Yeah,
it.
yeah, he did.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, and he laid out before us such a beautiful picture of how we do things in life, and I guess the table we're setting up for our children to see before us like that, and I had not really heard that preached like that before.
And the relationship between us and children at large.
Yes.
We're their example. If we don't learn to walk the talk,
Yeah.
not them, but us.
Yeah, yeah. And he pointed that out.
Oh, the scripture pointed it out real well.
Yeah.
Millstone hanged about your neck.
Mm-hmm.
Powerful, powerful warnings in the scripture.
Well, and you know, here's the thing, and we all went through this when we were lost, is that we just want to tell, I guess, God or anybody that's around us, He wants to stop me from having a good time. And you know what I'm saying? If I become a Christian, then I got to stop all the stuff that's really fun, or at least I think it's fun.
You think it is.
That's right. But the enemy plants that seed in our brain that's what we're missing out on. And lo and behold, the whole issue is not God wanting to take away from us happiness and joy and a good time. It's for our protection.
Absolutely. And when we see the biblical examples in the scriptures that he related to this morning, talking about those issues, if we don't take them to heart and make them part of our
There was the warning.
that
That
was
was the
the
warning
warning.
that he was saying. That was Jesus talking too, by the way.
Certainly.
Yeah, he was saying, you don't want to do that. It's just, and he got into the one about losing your hand or your eye, and which is better for you to go into the heaven with one eye or one hand than to spend an eternity in hell like that.
Yeah. And that warning isn't taken to heart by Christians because they know they're forgiven.
Right.
And once you get a hold of what you're forgiven,
Right.
you got to realize that those warnings should be made part of your daily walk and your daily actions. How to forgive others. 490 times a day. He got to Peter on that one.
That's right. That's right. Well, you know, and also, again, I keep going back to this because my brother came to Christ almost in this same manner, and he told me that with his own mouth. He said, the reason that I didn't want to accept Christ, he said, I didn't think that Christians could have any fun. And if you were in worship service this morning watching people worship this morning, that place was on fire.
It was awesome.
Because out of their heart and their desire to please God, were we kind of returning that back to Him.
Yeah. The worship service was marvelous this morning. Go back and watch the video.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, and he got into James, and I heard you talking these scriptures out loud over there to the left of me because he got into talking about works. And boy, everybody wants to jump on that one if you're on the outside looking in and going, it's by faith, it's by faith. It's nothing about works, because if it's works, it's about what we're doing. But here's the scripture laid out clearly that you can't do one without the other.
They go not hand in hand, but they're cohesive.
Yes.
You cannot show your works without faith, and you cannot show your faith without works. And there's a lot of fruit inspectors out there. They're going to examine the fruit that's dripping off of you, whether it's of God or whether it's of the world.
Right.
And boy, if you're not walking the talk, that's one of my favorite
Yes.
expressions, but this sermon just nailed it as to how we should show our faith. It's by our works.
All right. And he goes back and he takes us to the story of Abraham, the father of our faith, who started all of
Clearly.
this. Absolutely. And he made it clear that his faith, he showed his faith by offering his son Isaac up. And when he drew those correlations like that, boy, it was such a beautiful picture he painted right there.
Right. God the Father representing in Abraham, Isaac representing Jesus and the willing sacrifice.
Yes.
And boy, there's a whole lot in there when you study it.
Yes. And and then overall, Damon, I guess it's just an overall reach of what he was trying to put out was people see us in the community and they see us in our family homes. Of course, you and I, our children are out of the house now, so I guess our exposure is out into the public and everything. And it's how other people see us, is how they're relating to Christ. Absolutely. And Damon said that. He said that people are going to look at me, and Damon is the first one that doesn't want you to look at Damon and what he does. But he was trying to draw the correlation is, I want you to see Christ in me. Now, don't look at me for what I'm doing, but try to see Christ in me.
That's exactly why we're supposed to be examples to the world. First, of forgiveness. Secondly, of how to walk away from sin and not in sin.
Yes.
And how to forgive others who need forgiveness and lead them in the right path. And that's like watching a 3-year-old for the first time seeing a bonfire. Even though the child may not be yours, when they see that bonfire, they're going to want to run into the fire. And if you don't run and snatch them away, you're guilty of their burns and death, possibly, if they do go through with it. So our job is to snatch them away from the fire. In James, it tells us, snatch them away. Jude
that's a good one.
Tells us to snatch them away before they enter into judgment of hell.
Right. Well, and I heard a lot of, I guess, gentle moans this morning when Damon started talking about poor parenting. And
oh, Lord,
yes,
many of us are guilty of that.
I have to just learn how to hold my head up and listen, because it'd be real easy for me to look back on the mistakes I had made with raising
Thank
children.
God for His forgiveness.
Absolutely, absolutely. But as Damon was talking that, like I said, I could just tell the hurt on people's hearts, wishing they had a do-over. Well, you can do over it, because Jennifer opened up our service this morning when we did our weekly scripture reading. And that was her point that she was trying to make, that you can start over at any point in time. She started over late in life. I did. I was in my 50s before I got my head on straight about what this was all about. And so it's never too late to start doing the right thing.
Exactly. And if you think you're going to be perfect after you're forgiven and saved, you better re-examine.
Right.
You're going to stumble and fall,
Yep.
and we all need to help each other to walk and to forgive one another. That's the purpose of forgiveness.
Right. And how many times have you and I, too, heard people, when we're trying to witness to people, and them saying, well, I don't want to go to church because the place is full of hypocrites.
Church is a hospital for hypocrites, and that's what the purpose of us are.
That's exactly right. And I think I shared that with you. The first time I heard someone tell me that, and
it was me.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about before that, when someone told me that they didn't want to come here because it was full of hypocrites. And then I told you about it. When you told me it was a hospital for hypocrites, it was like, oh man, I wished I had that when he told me that, because I would have sure threw that at him real fast, But that's exactly what it is. We're all in stages of repairing
and
things.
Learning how to turn away from that old bad habit and to correct our walk.
Right.
Yeah. Always we're in a repentant state.
Right. Well, and Damon brought this scripture up, and I heard it on one as I was getting ready to come to church this morning. This pastor was talking about how easy it is to just I get complacent in your daily walk, and Damon was kind of getting there with just a little bit, and I think he said you need to slow down and just stop. We get so busy that we really don't take the time to, I guess, really connect with God and say, but before I start doing any of this stuff, what impact is this going to have on those around me and those that see me?
Yeah. And with reflection back into his sermon, he made one of the very great points that is underlined in the scripture. It says, "Don't you know that the children's angels always behold the face of the Father which is in heaven?" Now, if those kids had angels, you're a child of God, you have an angel. So don't ever forget that God was underlying that interesting technical point to tell us that we have angels, guardian angels, that are watching over us, because their faces, the angels' faces, always behold the face of the Father which is in heaven. So ask God to charge your angel to put a protective hedge about you and protect you and the prosperity that God has blessed you with.
That's right. When he read that scripture, buddy, and I mean this is one of those red scriptures, So Jesus was talking about a red liner like that, and when he said they have protective angels are surrounding them.
Yes.
So when you're thinking about maybe doing something or saying something to a kid that could possibly lead them astray, you're in trouble. They are surrounded by angels. Yeah.
You don't want to do that. There are too many warnings of the judgment that will be placed against an unrepentant sinner who causes a little one to fall and be separated from God. Ooh, danger.
Absolutely. And Damon, here too is something that really, I guess, kind of gets people on the outside of the church looking in kind of messed up when Damon was talking about, can I drink a beer? Can I do something like that? Is that allowed? And he said he couldn't find anything in Scripture where Jesus just didn't say it wasn't allowed, but he said, is it beneficial to me? Right. And what's it going to do if someone sees me doing something like this? He said, it's not that it's going to harm me, it's going to harm those around me that see what I'm doing, and then it can lead them astray. Right. And there's where the millstone comes in.
And it's a double lead astray. Yes. They take a judgmental attitude over your actions, and secondly, how do you forgive something that you've seen somebody else do, and they haven't asked your forgiveness because they didn't know they saw you watching them do it. So the issue is twofold. You have to be very careful of participating in the other's folly.
That's exactly right, and that's biblical too. There's a whole bunch,
number of scriptures.
Right. But Damon threw that out there because that's one that everybody. I say everybody. There's a lot of people on the outside looking in likes to use that, just to say I don't want to become a Christian because, and they just throw that out there.
Yeah.
But I think again, Damon's overall message today on relationships is that people are looking at us. And they're wanting to know, are we walking the walk and walking the talk, as you say, in our everyday walk?
Well, I used to have a bumper sticker on my 69 Volkswagen Bug that said, Christians aren't perfect, they're just forgiven. And there's the issue is, forgiven of what? And you have to ask yourself, what has God forgiven me of? What sins? Well, it's all of them.
Right.
And that's why he stretched out his arms and said, this is how much I love you.
Right. That's it. Well, listen, I think, again, Damon's message to us was we need to learn how to walk in the way that honors Christ in everything we do, no matter wherever we go. When we walk out of this building, we want to be the same people that we are on the inside of the building like that.
And remember that people are going to be inspecting you. They're going to watch you.
Right.
They're going to watch how you walk.
That's right. And it's like you always say, they're fruit inspectors.
They are.
So
They're
they're
fruit
looking for our
inspectors.
fruit. So listen, on behalf of Ken and myself, we want to thank y'all for joining us, and we'll see you here next week at the same time and same place.
God bless you.